Bojo ani mangindorum, bidas nukwe nadijnakas, bawatindan donjaba. My English name is Jackie Minton. I introduce myself to you in our language. My clan is I'm Loon Clan. And that's the reason why I kind of chose to be here by this water in the background, because that's where I'm really always comfortable and it's a good healing spot for me. My spirit name is Bidas Nukwe. I was named by a medicine guy from over in St. Croix Reserve by Minnesota and Wisconsin border, and his name was Archie Mose. The way he explained my name to me was light comes from this woman, and in the early morning there's a spirit woman that flies over the earth, and she takes all of the tobacco that people offer, and she lets Creator know that the Anishinaabe people are still here, they're still offering their tobacco. And when we offer our tobacco, we offer it's to say miigwech for this new day and everything that will be coming. And I always ask for guidance through the day. And so when that woman flies over, she always leaves hope for the people. So that's what my name is. And we're always taught to do what we can to live up to our names. So that's what I try to do. I try to live up to my name. I was born here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. I am an elder. I was born in 1961, and my parents were Lucy Gabo and E.J. Willis. I have two older sisters. My oldest sister was Debbie Willis. She passed away. I still have my older sister Ruthie Willis, my older brother Brian Willis, and two younger brothers Eddie and Tony Willis. So when I was born, I was the baby of my mom and dad, EJ and Lucy Willis. I was the baby in that family, and they got divorced. So I went to stay with my mom, and what ended up happening was in the middle of the night, my mom and her boyfriend, they were gone to a funeral downstate, and Catholic Social Services came and took me, and they took me out of the home. What ended up happening is they moved me every 2 weeks from foster home to foster home, and my granny and my grandma and my grandpa were looking for me. They started right away trying to find out what happened where I was, and so Catholic Social Services just started moving me every 2 weeks so that they couldn't find me. And what eventually happened was I ended up at a Catholic orphanage in Marquette. I really don't remember a whole lot about that. What I do remember was sleeping in this great big gym room where there was just a bunch of cots in there. And I just always remember I was just always scared and crying a lot. And there was this young nun that used to come in there and rub my back, and that's about all I remember from that. My very, very first memory is being by the lake by a lake and sitting on the beach. And I don't know, my mom and my granny had run up to the camper to get something, and so I was kind of sitting down there by myself, and I saw this big, I thought it was a big dog. It came up, and I was kind of looking at it, and then my mom and my granny came down and they chased it away. And so that's like my real first memory. So I stayed at that orphanage probably, I don't even know, I think about maybe 6 months to a year. And then I was adopted by a family from Iron Mountain, Michigan. And they were non-native, but and they had adopted another daughter a year before me when she was just a baby. And that's where I grew up. So I grew up in Iron Mountain, Michigan. I didn't really know anything about what it meant to be an Indian or Native, or to be an Ojibwe and an Odawa. To be an Anishinaabe person, I didn't know anything about that. I always thought I was like the only Indian there because I was the only one that was visible, and that it was you know, there was no hiding it. It was just obvious because I was brown, and I don't like. I mean, it was always. There's always that racist thing going on. It was always, you know, they would always call me names and stuff like that. So it wasn't like something that was, you know, my memories of growing up in school weren't, there's lots of good times, but there was always that underlying current that I was different and that I wasn't good enough and that I was brown. I graduated from high school, and I had to get my adoption files. So I had to petition the court to get my adoption files out so that I could prove that I was Native American, so I could get a tuition waiver to go to college. So I did that, and the intention was not for me to receive those files. Those files were supposed to go to the school, but inadvertently they got sent to me too. So I opened them up. I got a letter in the mail, and I opened up, and I was reading it, and it said, "This is the social history of Jacqueline Lou Willis." And I didn't know who Jacqueline Lou Willis was. So I was reading it, and I showed one of my friends, and she's like, "This is you." And so then, oh, okay, so what I did is I wrote my dad a letter, and I sent it because that was the only address I had. And I sent it to him, and I just said, "My name's Jackie, I'm your daughter. If you don't want anything, you know, if you don't want to contact me or communicate, that's fine, but I'm just putting it out there." And so his wife at that time was Teresa Smart, not Teresa Willis. But she told me that as soon as he got that letter, he just ran around and told her to hurry up and help him write a letter back. And as soon as I got the letter back, he told me, "Contact me as soon as you get this, call me." And he wanted to come and see me. So that's how I ended up eventually coming back to Sault Ste. Marie and meeting my natural family, and working for the tribe. I mean, my first job working for the tribe was in 1980, working for the YCC, clearing land for the Sault Ste. Marie res. None of this was here. It was just all it was all swampland and willow, and none of this was here. what we did is we cleared all the land, and we worked in little groups, and then eventually what ended happening is they built up this area. And then, so I stayed here for a year, and then I left for probably I left for 5 years. And I was kind of like, it really messed with me a little bit, and I was kind of lost, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do next. So I moved to Green Bay, and I was staying there with my mom, with my adopted mom, and it was obvious I needed to go through some healing. So I went and talked to this lady from Oneida, and she got me talking to some Ojibways up in Duluth, and I ended up moving to Duluth, and that's when my whole healing journey started. I got introduced to Jan Martin, Dorothy Sam, and Adam Lucier, and they kind of took me in and just started teaching me things and walking me through healing. That was the first time I ever went through a fast, and that was Adam's vision, and it was that spring fast. It's a women's fast, and I was really afraid to do it, and so my friend Jan, I told her, I said, I'm scared to do this, and she said, it's going to be okay. I'll be there with you. Dorothy will be there to help us, so you don't need to worry about it. I'll be right there with you. So I said, okay, I'm just doing it because you're going to be with me. And so we got up to Adam's house up in Red Lake, and we got there late at night, and we went in and talked to him, and then we were going out to sleep in the van and to get ready because we have to get up at 6 in the morning to go out to fast. And she came out and she told me, oh my girl, I can't do it. I started my moon, and I started crying because I was like, I can't do this. I cannot do this all alone. I don't know what to do, and I don't even know if I deserve to be here. And she assured me, yes, it's going to be okay. Dorothy will help you. And so what ended up happening was there were 4 women that were there to do this fast. There was one for each direction. And they put me in the eastern direction, that direction of the youth, because I was the youngest one there. And I did that fast. And we went through every single season while we were out there fasting. It got real, real cold, and then it got nice, then it got really, really hot, and then it was just perfect. So after we were finished with the fast, we went in the sweat lodge and we said our prayers, and we came out, and then we had to travel back, like, I don't know, it's probably a half mile to get back to Adam's house. So we got back up to the house, and we took showers, and I came out of the shower, and there was all these people there, and there was all this food, and these people were just like so nice to us. I remember being there, and we were hungry, and they were like, oh no, you eat first. So I was like, oh my gosh, we get to eat first. So we ate, and they just came and talked to us. They gave us gifts, and they were just grateful for us for doing that fast, because that fast is for the babies, for all the new things that come in the springtime. So that was the reason why we did that fast. So that's when I first kind of really started knowing anything about my culture, about knowing what it is to be an Anishinaabe person. So I stayed up there for about a year, and then I came back to Sault Ste. Marie in December of 1985, and that's when the casino first opened, and I started working here at the casino. And it was just a little building. It was nice, but it was just one little building. I think it had about 24 blackjack tables in it. It didn't have any slot machines because we didn't have that that type of gaming yet. And we were open from 6 to 2 or 6 to 4 on the weekends. And I was a dealer. That's what I liked the most. I liked dealing because I got to talk to customers, and it was a way to make people feel good about coming here. I worked at casinos for a while. I was a pit boss, and I was a shift manager, and so I kind of went through a lot of just a lot of different roles in the casino. And I've watched this casino grow so much. Just a couple weeks ago, I was talking to Dan Gardner. He was sitting in the shift office, and I said to him, because he's a person that was here from day one too, and I said, look at the difference it has been in this casino. You know, it went from just that little building to this big, gigantic hotel. We have 2 restaurants, 2 bars. We have a big gaming room, and then all these slot machines and 2 different gaming rooms. So, yeah, it has really grown a lot. And to watch that fund a lot of our services for the tribe, you just watch the up and downs with that. What I have with me right here, I have some sweetgrass on my lap, and I brought that because this is one of our medicines, and I have my feather that was gifted to me. This is my warrior feather. But the sweetgrass, I brought this with me because this is one of our 4 medicines. We have tobacco, we have cedar, sage, and sweetgrass. So this is wingush. That's how you say it in our language. And this is the medicine that is represented in the northern direction. And that's the direction that I am sitting in now, is my elder direction. And it's very fitting because this grass it represents kindness and gentleness and loving ways of our people, and to remember those. And that's just the direction that I'm in right now. You know, I've lived my life, and now I'm sitting in this direction. I'm going to retire from working a 40-hour week in the next few years. So it's my time to sit back and, help out in any ways that I can help out. And that I'm not tied to 40 hours, 8 to 5. I'm not going to be tied to that anymore. What I've done working with the tribe is I worked in casino, but for the past 27 years I've been working with our kids. I've been working in like a cultural aspect in teaching them about Anishinaabe traditions, our life ways. I am not a fluent speaker. I know a lot of words in our language just from listening and from being at ceremonies or being at gatherings where language is spoken. Any kind of knowledge that I have, all of the knowledge that I have and that I continue to seek and learn about is because I've offered tobacco. And anytime you want to, you ask somebody to help you with something, you give them some tobacco. Anytime I go in the woods to pick, like to get red willow, to get cedar, to get birch bark, to do some of the traditional artwork that I do, I always offer tobacco first. Tobacco is the medicine that's in the eastern direction, and that eastern direction is the time of spring, the time of birth. Everything always begins with tobacco, they say, because spirits don't have tobacco, and that's something that they like that. So that is why we always give tobacco. The second medicine, or the next medicine to go with the medicine wheel, is that cedar of the southern direction, and that's it. gets out the negativity, and that's a medicine that women can use at any time. The next medicine is that sage in the western direction, and sage is used to cleanse the air. And they've even now proven that sage scientifically has a cleansing agent in there, and does cleanse the air in that other kind of those sciences. We know that's what happened, but they have recognized that too. And then the northern direction is sweetgrass. Some of the things that I've learned that help me with teaching our younger people is, we started with just teaching them how to make their regalia so they can dance at powwows. And there's kind of a little hook with that, because once we teach the young ones how to do that, we get their whole family to come back to that circle, because it's like anytime your child performs or is doing something, the whole family's going to go there and watch. So that's kind of the way that I went about it, was that I knew the rest of the family would come. And so that's how a lot of people have come back to that circle, and they've learned how to dance. And so much goodness comes from that, because they grow up in that circle, grow up in those ways, and they learn what it is to be an Anishinaabe person. That's the way that I raised my daughters, because I always felt so good around dancing and singing. That just always made me feel good. So that's kind of what I've always tried to do. I have helped plan many powwows, many gatherings. Just this last week we had our first powwow at the Rudyard area schools, and that's where my classroom is at. There has never been a powwow there, and there's like 48% of that school they are tribal members. So to be able to give them that and have them all come and take part in that was really one of my dreams come true for my job, but also just to give that to those kids. My kids went to school there, so I knew that it was needed, and to watch all those little kids dance and to come up to us and say miigwech, and it was a great feeling, and it's something that will continue to go on. The only reason we were allowed to do it because our Native American senior literature class helped with it, but also because we got funding from the tribe to do it. And that is something that has come about, is getting funding to do cultural gatherings and to help teach our membership about that. So those are the things that I've been helpful with, and I will continue to do that even when I retire from my job. I work for youth education activities. When I retire from that job, I'm still going to be going in and teaching kids and doing workshops and helping to continue that going. There's been a huge change. I mean, even when I was a baby, we couldn't even dance. We couldn't do our gatherings because it was against the law. And I do think that my mother's generation was a generation that really lost so much, because that was the generation that came right after boarding schools. And boarding schools totally ripped families apart. My granny was in a boarding school up in Espanola in Spanish in Canada. She was from Wikwamakan Reserve, and but my granny liked boarding school because she learned how to make sweetgrass baskets, she learned how to make birch bark baskets, she learned how to knit and how to weave rugs, and she liked learning that. Whereas, like my mom, she didn't get to do that. Like all those lifeways were kind of lost, and that was what the whole objective was of those boarding schools, was to take that and to just to reshape our whole culture, just to take our whole culture away and to make us fit into what they wanted us to be. So there's been a real change, and I don't think that it hasn't been since AIM and since the late 60s and the 70s, when all that, when everybody started questioning things, that these teachings started coming back and everyone started digging everything out, and not afraid to, say who we were, say who we are, and start giving those teachings and really celebrating it again instead of having to hide it away. So that's the way I think it's changed. When I was younger, growing up, I didn't have any teachings. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything. There were some things that were said, that Indians were dirty people. They lived like pigs. I mean, those were things that I was told. And I didn't really, know what it meant. I didn't really know that I was even Indian until I was like in 9th grade, that it was written on a passport, because I had to get a passport because I was going to Europe to study for the summer. And then I saw it said Native American. So that's when I started thinking about things. Growing up not knowing anything, I wanted to make sure that my daughters knew who they were and that they took pride in who they were. So that's why I started them. They started dancing as soon as they started walking. And, I didn't know how to make regalia. I didn't know anything. So I just started teaching myself, and I would take tobacco to people and ask them. And people that helped me were Adrian and Grass Shipman, Kathy DeVoy, Dale and Cindy Thomas, Cecil Pavlot, Bud Byron. They all helped me. So that's the way. I just wanted to make sure my girls grew up that way, and so they do. So they do know who they are, and I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to do that, and that anybody I offered tobacco to, they gave me those teachings and helped us out. So my girls were raised as community girls. The only way we're going to keep our traditions and our language alive is by using our language. Language speakers, they're few and far between. We don't have, I probably think we probably have about 5 fluent speakers that are Sioux tribe members. Thank goodness we are able to get other fluent speakers from other places to come in and help us. I think it's up to us. It's our responsibility to keep teaching our young ones and to keep learning, to seek those teachings. It isn't just a handful of tobacco anymore. Those people that have those teachings, they have to travel, and they have bills just like we have bills, and there are some programs within the tribe that are able to help us with those things, and I think that is a priority. I think our language should be a priority for our tribe, because it is part of what keeps our sovereignty for us. So language always needs to be on the front burner. what does it mean to me to be Native American? Well, I just feel like I'm like one of the luckiest people in the world because I chose this. You know, when we're born, we're first, like even before we come out, we decide who our parents are going to be. And so, you know, we make that decision. And I'm glad I made the decisions that I made. My first beginnings were real rough. Probably weren't things that any kind of little girl should have to go through. But I don't know, I just chose to, just to keep going, that it was going to be okay. I could depend on myself, but, people have helped me so much along my way. At all times, people are always helping me, and people have, lots of people have that kindness and that goodness in them, and they will help you. I just feel like I'm very, very lucky. I'm very fortunate. And I have daughters, and they're very fortunate. I have granddaughters, and they're very fortunate. So, I don't know if you come back in another life. I'm just glad that I get to be Anishinaabe because I'm proud of who I am. I love our way of life. I feel that it is a way that is, there's just so much wisdom, and every single living thing here has a gift, and I recognize that everything has a gift, and I'm grateful that I get to encourage others and help that gift shine and help out our communities. No, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to have this opportunity. I just want our youth to always remember everybody has a gift. Shine. Bring that gift out. Some of you may know how to sing, some of you may know how to dance, some of you may know how to do artwork, some of you may be mathematicians, some of you may be able to be a whiz on a computer and go through that kind of technological programming I know nothing about, so I appreciate that. And just be true to yourself and to who you are and shine. I just want you to just shine. When I talked to my kids today and I asked them, I said, what do you like to hear about when people do interviews like this? And they said that they like to hear about when they were growing up. They also like to hear, what do you want to be remembered for? So I guess what I would like to be remembered for is for always being someone that people could come to ask questions, that I'm approachable, that I'm not a scary person. If I can help you out, I'm going to help you out. I like to bring all kinds of different community people together, people that would never talk to each other, or wouldn't have the opportunity to talk to each other. Those are the kind of things that we do in workshops when I teach how to make moccasins, or I teach how to make mittens or ribbon skirts or shirts. There's people from all different areas that come in to learn that. And then they get to, they get to meet each other, they get to talk to each other, they get to form friendships. So that's what I really would like to be remembered, as a person that brought people together, and a person that liked to laugh and that I like to dance. I got a new knee this past fall, so I'll be dancing again, and it'll be nice to see y'all at gatherings. Miigwech.